is Saturday, October the 13th, 2018, and this is the annual fall tour of the Cumberland Historic Cemetery organization. I'm Ed Taylor Jr. I'm president of the organization. We all know Paul and Faye here. For our guests that came along with me, this is Dr. Paul Snow and this is Faye Snow. They bought the farm in late 70s?
75.
In 1975. In this cemetery, two major families, the Hinkles, who have been here for centuries, and the Snows' first burial was in 1981. Faye's going to share some of that information with you. I met the Snows in late 1988, and in 1989 we made this one of our official adopted cemeteries, and we put the little sign here. The organization has done some work here over the years. Paul and Faye, they take care of the lawn mowing and things like that, the normal average mowing. One monument I'm going to tell about before we actually see it is a monument to one of our great members who is not buried here. That is our vice president from 1990-91, Priscilla Collinson. Priscilla died in 1998, and she was cremated, and her ashes were scattered up in Garrett County against her wishes and mine. And she wanted to be buried. She always talked about having a monument of the Cumberland Historic Cemetery organization on her gravesite. That did not happen. In 2001, we built a modest monument, and it was placed down at Holy Cross Episcopal Church on Brookfield Avenue in South Cumberland. However, they closed in 2014, and we moved the monument from that garden at the church permanently here to the Hinkle-Snow Cemetery. This was one of her favorite cemeteries as far as adopted sites of the organization. But anyhow, that is the brief introduction. I want to introduce Debbie, and your last name?
Pazzo.
And this lady is the director of the Maryland Office of Cemetery Oversight. That is an office that was created back in the 1990s from the work of the Coalition to Protect Maryland Burial Sites, which we are a charter member of and a very proud member of. That institution was started in 1991 here in the state of Maryland by Ellicott City resident Barbara Sieg. And there was a great need for it, mainly down in the Baltimore, Washington urban areas. Many developers were plowing cemeteries over left and right. In this area, we have a farmer problem. I'm a big pro-farmer guy, but we have some farmers that think they need to tear these cemeteries out to make room for livestock.
I want to tell you about when we bought the farm, when we went to closing, we were told that there was a cemetery on the property and that we were going to be the owners of it, but it stipulated that we must always allow any family members to come in to visit the grave. And of course, we were delighted to do that. Over the years, we've had people knock on our doors and we brought them up here. We used to come regularly into the old section to pick wineberries in the summertime, and our little boy would look at some of the stones, especially the stone of little Hillard, who died at age 4. And he said, I wonder what that little boy was like. Well, little did we know that Gary would die in 1981 in a traffic accident, and he had said to his sister when we were up here one time, this is a nice place, I'd like to be buried here. There's always a biography on the back so that you can know what this person was like. Okay, we're going to move to the next one now. Okay, this is my family members. This is my sister, Dr. Betty Fauver. She died at 54 of septic shock very suddenly. She's the one I was telling you about who was a theater person. Notice the theater curtains on her stone. And she always wore black because it made her look thin. So her adopted daughter, she wasn't really legally adopted, but her student who considered herself adopted, definitely said we need a black stone. That was erected in 1981. That has a ceramic picture, has a poem on the front that I did, some genealogy, and the back has a biography of where he was born and what he liked to do and so on. And it ends with, Gary will always be a little boy. And so that's, and then this is a stone we put up for us, for Paul and me. It has the ceramic picture is actually a photo collage of our life together, starting with our wedding, all the way through the farm life with the children, and so on until we're old. The center part of the collage is us as old people, because we do get to be old people, and we look very different than what we did when we were young. So that's this part of the cemetery for you. But as you're passing through, be sure and look at the backs of these because they're just as interesting as the front. And of course, there's a lovely seal on all of the stones with the cemetery organization. Okay, we're going to head over into Don's cemetery now.
Okay, this is Priscilla Collinson's monument that I mentioned earlier that we moved from Holy Cross Episcopal here to the Hinkle-Snow Cemetery in 2014.
The first thing I want to say is this is the Hinkle Cemetery, my wife's family. They came here in 1784, was the first we saw property. The grandparents and stuff that are not marked are back there with just limestone. This one here is George Plummer, who was Sue's fourth great-grandfather. This was his wife. The stones, when I came over a couple years ago and looked at, well, this one was broken in 3 pieces laying there. This one was laying face down. And I thought, what can I do? So I made the form. Where the tombstone, the old headstone was, I have a piece of foam there. And the foam is a 1/2 inch bigger all the way around than the tombstone. So when you pour the concrete after it sets, you pull it off, pull the foam out, and insert this. And I have a very good epoxy glue behind it that I hope will hold. And then I tried caulking. You can see that the stones are broken off. I'm going to put something else down there eventually, but it was like, get something else done. We did 5 of them so far in the cemetery. There's more. In the back here, we probably have 15, 20 more graves. We're not sure. Online in the last 2 weeks, I have come up with another 6 people that I think are here.
Mm-hmm.
These parents, George and Ashay, died, and they're probably right here. From what I see, I'm thinking it's parents, children. This is their child, which is another grandfather. His wife. There's their son. It just goes in rows here. Yeah. So I'm thinking that the George Hinkle and his wife are right there. And he would have been the firstborn.
Okay.
Anyway, the farm here, the Hinkles, my wife is the 8th generation to be raised on the farm. Her daughters, Amy and Alicia, would have been the 9th generation to be raised on the farm. They have their children here, who would be the 10th generation from the Hinkle family.